An investigation launched into alleged police brutality. The government blasts the PLP's proposed VAT decrease, and the DNA heads to Grand Bahama. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Tuesday, March 9th. An officer at the center of an alleged police abuse complaint has been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of a police investigation. Both the National Security Minister and Commissioner of Police told reporters that this behavior isn't tolerated. Here's JCN's Laurencia Smith with more details.
Alleged abuse of a civilian is under investigation after a voice note in circulation on social media has accused police officers of abusing someone while in their custody. That police officer has been placed on administrative leave. This coming from Commissioner of Police Paul Roll. National Security Minister Marvin Dames confirming with reporters this morning that the 4-minute-long audio in fact is under investigation.
I think it is fair to say that I have been doing a whole lot to improve the image of this organization. I'm going to continue to do that. Each officer will be judged according to their conduct. Officers must take responsibility for their allegiance to the Constitution. There are certain provisions in the Constitution which guarantees certain things when individuals are arrested. We have posted them in all of the stations, and I say on a regular basis to officers, you must have respect for individual human rights, and persons who are in our custody, they are responsibility.
The audio, an officer can be heard hitting a male who was in police custody and shouting profanity. At one point in the audio, the officer stated his name and rank. When asked if he's concerned that the matter and similar matters will have an impact and an effect on the force's reputation, Minister Dames says this.
And any time when you hear or see videos in virtual space relating to police, defense force, any law enforcement officers, as a matter of fact, that would be of interest to the agency involved. And yes, the police is aware. During my conversations with the commissioner today, that matter is in hand and will be addressed as soon as possible to determine exactly what it all means and what's going on there. Disseminated. This is the world that we're living in today. And so, I mean, we talk about body cam and dash cam when we have cell phones, which is just as good. And just about everyone walking has a cell phone in his or her hands. You can record video or voice recording. And so, you know, those of us in authority should act accordingly.
Minister Dames adds that he wants the public to know there is no need to fear in reporting an officer for his or her behavior. Now, during a walkabout in the community, Commissioner Roll telling reporters that he does not condone this behavior. I'm Laurencia Smith for JCN News.
It's regrettable and it's completely irresponsible. Those are the words of Minister of State for Finance, Senator Kwesi Thompson, as he blasted the Progressive Liberal Party's proposed plan to reduce value-added tax, or VAT, to 10% should they become the next government. On Sunday, opposition deputy leader Chester Cooper, in unveiling the party's 10-point economic plan, said many Bahamians are worried about increase in their taxes, but increasing the tax burden for ordinary Bahamians would be both immoral and terrible economic policy, adding that instead a PLP government would reduce VAT to a rate of 10% across the board for 12 months and then reassess the rate after a year. Well, Senator Thompson says the opposition's plan would lead to a dramatic fall off in revenue, likely in excess of $100 million during their proposed 12-month period, at a time when the country's fiscal resources are under tremendous strain and the needs for government to support social and economic programs are even more pronounced. He says it's regrettable that the opposition would use a matter as serious as our fiscal and economic health to choose to engage in rank populist politicking. They will say anything to win an election, he says. Senator Thompson contends that the government cannot operate by trial and error. The 12-month period will only destabilize the economy, causing the PLP to have no choice but to return to 12% the following year or increasing to 15%. The country needs stability and consistency, he says. He adds that to compound their folly without any analysis on the impact, the opposition is promising to spend even more on programs while they gut the revenue base on a short-term political adventure. He says a 2% cut in VAT does not guarantee additional spending needed and will not be sufficient to achieve the amount of economic activity to replace the loss in revenue. It would be impossible for the government to maintain its spending levels with that level of loss in revenue, he says. It is completely irresponsible, he adds, and he says that this F&M government does not play dangerous games with the fiscal health of the country. He adds that this is why, despite the two most impactful economic disasters in the history of the country, the government's plan has been clear and effective, taking care of Bahamians by providing the necessary support. The Bahamas has been removed from the French list of non-cooperative states and territories on tax matters, that being revealed by the Ministry of Finance in a statement on Monday, only days after the list, updated annually by the French Ministry of Economics and Finance, was published in the official diary of the French Republic on March 4th. Minister of State for Finance, Senator Kwesi Thompson, says the decision by France to remove the Bahamas from its tax blacklist is the culmination of extensive bilateral discussions with the French government since the Bahamas was first listed in December 2019. The French government has imposed a number of sanctions on blacklisted countries, including applying withholding taxes at a higher rate of financial transactions involving blacklisted countries. This serves as a distinctive to French taxpayers, both individuals and companies wishing to conduct business in blacklisted countries. Blacklisting also carries reputational risks and may affect a country's ability to access international markets. Senator Thompson says from the moment the government learned that the Bahamas was blacklisted, they set about to vigorously disprove France's assumptions about the country's commitment to the international regulatory standards on tax cooperation and exchange of information for tax purposes. Discussions with the French authorities have been fruitful and have fostered a deeper degree of cooperation between the two countries. Over the past year, the Bahamas has amplified its engagement in the international community to defend the integrity of the jurisdiction against the criticism that it is not doing enough to curb financial crimes. In March 2020, the European Union removed the Bahamas from its list of uncooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes in December 2020. The Financial Action Task Force removed the Bahamas from its anti-money laundering and counterterrorism financing watch list. And in our national COVID-19 update, health officials reporting 3 COVID-19 related deaths in 2 separate updates. The Ministry of Health, in its report for Sunday, March 7th, confirmed that an 80-year-old male of Abaco died on Saturday, March 6th. For Monday, March 8th, there were 2 COVID-19 related deaths, a 62-year-old female who died on Sunday, March 7th, and a 57-year-old female who died on Monday, both from New Providence. These deaths pushed the country's death toll to 185. As for new COVID-19 cases over the 2 days, on Sunday, 12 cases were reported and 1 case for Monday, and that case was reported on Abaco. The national count of cases now stand at 8,642. 17 cases are hospitalized, 1 in the intensive care unit. 920 cases are active as 18 cases recovered on Monday, pushing the total there to 7,483. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.